Tag team turmoil. So, yeah, we had the B team versus the Viking Raiders. Viking Experience wins quickly. Then they face the OC. It goes 1 minute, breaks down into a 4-way. We get a double DQ.
Yeah, that was not good.
What the hell were these two teams even in the tournament for if you don't want to beat them?
Well, Anderson and Gallows had to be in because they're the former champions, wanting to get their rematch. And I guess the way to take them out, they didn't want to beat them. And they don't want to beat the Viking Raiders just yet. So this is what they did.
So you've got a team, the Viking Raiders.
The Viking Raiders didn't have to be in this, though.
They got called up. They've just destroyed everybody in squash matches. They're a great team. But instead of, setting them up for the tag titles...
Well, they will at some point.
Dolph and Bobby Roode are the number one contenders.
Yes. I guess that was the direction that they wanted to go.
So, Bobby Roode and Dolph.
It's interesting, though, because it's a unique situation because, for the longest time, there was, no depth in the tag team division. It was there was always, one babyface team and one heel team, and the rest of the teams were the B team, which, nobody cared about. And now on the Raw side, you got 4 heel teams. You got Roode and Ziggler, you got Anderson and Gallows, you got the Viking Raiders, and you got the Revival. And they're all good. And so 3 of them have to kind of take a back seat, right? During any cycle, pay-per-view cycle, because it's whatever. I thought, I guess it's good to have that. We have a bunch of teams that are good. But it's
I'm just irritated that you've got the Viking Raiders, you've got the Revival, you've got Heavy Machinery, you've got all of these teams that Heavy Machinery's never been champions before, and Revival briefly, Viking Raiders never, instead we're putting together this team where one of the guys has been pushed for a day 3 times and then given up on immediately. And I guess at least in this case, because they won, Vince can't give up on him tomorrow. Nothing's worked yet. They just won one night.
Yeah, but they look good.
Vince could wake up tomorrow and decide, I don't want to use Bobby Roode anymore, like he has 3 times now.
That's true, but Bobby Roode to me was the star, except for... I guess you could say Ricochet and McIntyre, but aside from that, if I had to pick a star,
Bobby Roode has been great every time he's been used, and Vince has given up on him every single time.
And he may this time too. But as far as what they did and everything, for a team that's not a team, they're.
That's my point. Why can't we do something with some of the actual teams instead of just bypassing all of them for a team that's not a team?
Now they're a team. That's how they got him over. That was the way to get him over. And, if they sucked or they were even average, I would say, look, they looked better, they looked better than the Revival.
I know, but my point is, how about we get over Heavy Machinery? How about we get over the Viking Experience?
I don't think they want, okay, here's the thing. I don't think they want to do a match with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman against Heavy Machinery. I don't think that's a good match for a pay-per-view. The one thing with you could do the Revival, but with Roode and Ziggler, the one thing that you got there is that they're, that you could put them in there with Strowman, and they'll know how to work around him and everything like that, and it's not going to be anything you need to worry about, and so whatever it is, it's they came up with a team. The team was good, so that's cool. I think that's a good thing that they came up with a good team. So many times I've seen them come up with bad teams.
So many times they've had a lot of teams and they've done nothing with them. That's my whole point. For crying out loud, the Lucha House Party's in there with Roode and Ziggler. And listen, as great as Bobby Roode is, the best guy in this match by leaps and bounds was Grand Metalik. And he's a jobber. Gets in there, does a bunch of crazy stuff, and they get beaten.
They don't do anything with him. When I was watching him, it was just I always thought that New Japan, when they had Grand Metalik, that they wasted him. They had him for a year, and they didn't. You don't know wasting till you've seen him here. I know. But when they see him in WWE, it's my God, New Japan was, was way above them. I mean, New Japan, at least they built him up for, the junior heavyweight title. He had a big main event with Kenny Omega. So it's like he did have some spots and everything. And the funny thing is every time he was in New Japan, he always did that same rope walk spot. Every time. It was like the exact same high spot. And he did it here too. But, and he can do so much stuff that he never does. Because when he was in New Japan before, it was so funny when he signed with WWE. He worked with CMLL, I should say, for several months after signing, and you would think that okay, I'm going to WWE, I'm finishing up with CMLL, so I mean, again, he's so talented that you kind of would think, okay, I can take it easy. I don't want to say take it easy, but whatever. And he ended up having his best matches in that period where he did anything but take it easy. He worked so hard. He did everything he could. Maybe he just wanted to get it out of his system, knowing that once he went to WWE, it was that was it for his career. That's kind of what's happened. I mean, he's making more than he would make in CMLL, but man, that's just he's a waste. It's too bad. He's a real talent. Yeah.
So Roode and Ziggler beat them, they beat the Revival, they beat Hawkins and Ryder, and they beat Heavy Machinery. So yes, out of nowhere, we have a new team. They're the number one contenders for the titles, and that's the story. You
know who's another guy, and he's never going to be a big star in WWE, which is funny because, you always think of the small guys, and you get a big guy. If a big guy's talented, he's going to be a star. But Tucker, the guy's 6'4", close to 290 pounds. What a great athlete that guy is. And I mean, he's in the right place at the right time. He can talk pretty good. I mean, there's something, obviously he does have something missing. But when I was watching him, and it's this guy's good. It's I don't know what you do with him. Because it's not, I can't see them pushing him as a big time star as a single, but it's man, I mean, they don't have a lot of guys that size that are that good, just as far as just right, just kind of the right positioning and everything like that. And he works well in that team with, Otis is obviously the star of the team, but Tucker works real well with them, as far as his partner goes and everything, and kind of carries the load, and Otis gets to do the flashy stuff. So, because he worked, whatever, the match wasn't that long. It was, how long did they go? 5.5 minutes. But Tucker kind of, Otis just got to do the big stuff at the end.